Well, hello and welcome to the video. Today I'm drinking coffee out of my Ironman 7.3 Hawaii mug from what year is it? Let's see, 2019. See how it tastes. Oh, it tastes so good. Okay, I just recently bought a new bike. I have a Felt IA and it has Ultegra di2 on it. My previous bike had di2 on it as well, but this new bike has less buttons on it. And so when I was trying to figure out how to do it, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with only 4 buttons? I'm used to having 6. What am I gonna do? So I started looking at videos, trying to find the best setup for a triathlon with di2, and I couldn't find it. What I wanna do now is just describe to you what I had in my previous bike, because you may have this on your current bike setup. And this is what I had. So I had on the rear brake, I had 2 buttons. On the right brake, I had 2 buttons. And on the left extension, I had 1 button, and on the right, I had another button. So how I had it set up was the left, the big button would shift the front derailleur to go to the big ring. The small button would shift the front derailleur to the small ring, okay? And on this side, the big button, when I pushed it, would make the rear derailleur go to a harder gear. When I pressed the smaller button, it would go to a smaller gear. Kind of made sense, right? And then up here, when I pushed the left-hand button, it would go harder. And when I pushed the right-hand button, it would go easier. Sounds great. And it worked well, and I had it for many, many years, and it worked like a charm. It was wonderful. I highly recommend it if you don't have it. But this bike, I'm missing the buttons on this left-hand shifter. I have 2 on the right, I have 1 up here, and 1 over here. And I'm like, how am I supposed to replicate what I had before? And so I was getting a little bit frustrated thinking, oh, I got this brand new bike, but it's not gonna be the same as my other bike. Now the thing is, it's right, it's not the same as my other bike. This is better than the other bike. But it took me a while to figure it out. And it actually took the bike mechanic, my bike mechanic from Velofix, to help me figure out the best setup for myself. So this is what we figured out. I'm not going to go over all the possible combinations you can have on the bike. I'm only going to go over the setup that I have and I think is the best one to have, or the best one for me. So what we had to do was to use something called synchronized shifting. Now synchronized shifting is this. Synchronized shift automatically shifts the front derailleur in synchronization with rear shift up and rear shift down. Shift points can be selected. Okay, so I'm like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. My mechanic said, look, Todd, you're going to like it, but it's going to take you a while to figure it out. I did not see a video on the web about it for triathletes, so I thought, let's put one up there, and so I can help someone out there who's trying to figure this out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hop on the bike. I'm going to show you how I have it set up. Now, I just want to tell you how I've programmed the buttons, and they are programmed with synchronized shift, okay? All the buttons are programmed at synchronized shift. The far left is going to shift to a harder gear. This right is going to go to an easier gear. I have 2 buttons on the right brake here. The button that's farther forward, when I push it, the bike goes into a harder gear. And when I push the button closer to me, it goes into an easier gear. That's how I have it set up. Now I had this completely reversed on Monday, and I thought, let me switch it around and try it this way. And I haven't taken it out, but it makes more sense for me to have the buttons organized like this than what I had on Monday. Okay, let me throw my shoes on and we're gonna hop on the bike and show you what I mean. Okay, so we are gonna start off with the bike in the small ring and in the middle of the rear cassette. Okay, I'm riding along and I wanna make it harder. So what button do I push? I'm gonna stay down here in this position. I'm going to use this button here, and I'm going to push the button farthest forward. Make it go harder. Push it once, it goes harder. I push it one more time, harder, push it again. It goes harder, and it also shifted the front derailleur from small to big. Keep pushing it. Makes sense. It gets harder. Okay. Now I go, oh my gosh, this is hard. Way too hard. A hill is coming up. I need to get into an easier gear. What do I do? Well, I push the button closest to me to make it go easier. Easier, easier. You keep pushing it, it gets easier, right? Makes sense. So keep pushing it till it gets easier. I'm still in the big ring in the front. I'm almost in the easiest gear on the back, but not quite. I'm gonna push it one more time and watch what happens. So it's done two things. It shifted from the front big to this front small, and it shifted the rear derailleur over 2. Okay? And now, to make it easier, I keep pushing it to go easier. And there I am on my easiest gear of my bike. It feels really, really good, but you know what? It feels too easy now. So now I need to make it harder. So I'll make it harder. I'll push the button farther forward, one at a time to make it harder. Now we're back where we were in the beginning, okay? So, it's right in the middle, I think, pretty close to the middle. We're gonna do the same thing, this time in the aero position, okay? So now I'm in the aero position. Feels pretty good, but I wanna go a little harder. Remember, for me to go harder, I need to use my left hand, push that button. Push it once, harder, push it again. Goes harder, and it shifted the front from the small ring to the big ring, and the rear went 2 easier. Okay? To go harder, I keep pushing it until I'm in the biggest gear on my bike. Now I'm in the big ring in the front, small ring in the back. I want to go easier. A hill's coming up, so I push the right button here. Easier, 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 until I get to that second easiest gear. The bike's not liking it. Starting the cross chain, right? So I push it one more time. Shifts from the big ring to the small ring, and the rear derailleur is shifted over 2. It really is a super cool feature. Now, I've only had this bike out once using this new setup. I'll be riding with it tomorrow, and I'm really excited to see how it works out. I think it's going to take a while for me to wrap my head around not having control over the front derailleur by using this left controller, but I think I'll be able to figure it out with a few rides. If you have any comments on how I can improve this setup, or you've tried something else that you like is even better, let me know. Post below in the comments. This is Coach Todd saying thank you very much and happy training. See you later.